Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Church of Evanston. My name is Carla Williams, and I'm honored to be serving on your Board of Trustees. Whether this is your spiritual home or you are newly discovering this community, we're grateful to share this time together. We strive to be an inclusive and welcoming community, seeking truth in love and nurturing the human spirit for a world made whole. We are guided by our principles and values, which remind us in every moment and through every challenge that each of us is worthy of love and that we are all connected through the vast and beautiful web of existence. We come together to remember our kinship with one another and to hold one another in heart and mind with tenderness and careful attention, and to dedicate ourselves more fully to living our shared values. If you are joining us online, there are many links of connection in the description below the YouTube live stream, including the order of service credits, ways to support our mission, and how to join our email newsletter list. If you're in the sanctuary, we encourage you to use the QR code for the digital order of service or to take one of the large print orders of service located on the table in the lobby. Hymnals are available right outside the sanctuary doors. I invite you to notice the nest in the front. This is our designated area for families with young children, where we have quiet toys and activities. Please feel free to enjoy the nest. Our children attend faith formation halfway through the service, 3 out of 4 weeks a month. They are always welcome to stay through the whole service if they prefer. We also have an inductive loop system for anyone wearing a hearing aid that is equipped with a T-coil. Your hearing aid should automatically connect if you enable the T-coil feature. For those who do not have a T-coil enabled hearing aid, we have receivers that can pick up the loop signal, and you can listen through earphones, and they are located on the table in the lobby. A few announcements. It's that time again for the September Soup Kitchen. We will be hosting the Soup Kitchen for only one day this fall. It's on September 20th. Please see the newsletter or member-to-member Facebook page for the link to sign up. If you need help signing up or have questions, please contact Ellie Feddersen or Marilyn Roblowski. Ellie's over here. I don't know if Marilyn's here. The new beginners Tai Chi class starts next Saturday, September 9th at 9:45 in the morning, and there's room for a few more students. Please talk with Renee Gatsis. There she is. If you're interested, you should try it. It's really wonderful. Next Sunday is our in-gathering and water communion. We will have a potluck after the service. See the newsletter or talk to Reverend Susan to volunteer for setup and cleanup, and definitely bring a dish to share. Faith formation for our young people begins September 17th. Please register your children and youth via the link in the newsletter or email Kathy Underwood. Kathy. You can visit the display at the program table during kinship time today and join us at noon on the 17th for the opening celebrations. We received more Get Out the Vote postcards. So pick up some from the UU The Vote table after the service today. I know there's some folks here who are staffing those, so just look for a friendly face with postcards. You'll be in the right spot. And now, let us settle into our shared time of reflection, celebration, and inspiration. As we begin our worship service, those joining us online are invited to gather your chalice as we join in beloved community. Welcome to worship. The Unitarian Church of Evanston resides on land that was recorded as being transferred from the local Potawatomi community to the U.S. government in 1829, shortly before the Potawatomi in this area were forcefully removed west of the Mississippi River. This land was then sold to white settlers. We remember the ancestors of contemporary African Americans, the individuals, families, and networks of Black people who built up our country's culture and economy, a role forced on them originally by enslavement. We acknowledge the intentional violence that landed on North American shores in 1619 has continued throughout the generations and remains a reality today. These acknowledgements are one small effort toward building long-term solidarity with contemporary communities. We commit ourselves to take what we learn here today and incorporate it into our lives and turn our thoughts into actions. Please join in our words of shared commitment. We name these realities with honor for all ancestors, respect for our descendants, and gratitude for the land we use as sacred space. Margaret and Neil Corman brought the chancel flowers and buckeyes this morning as they light our chalice, symbol of our living tradition. The flowers are in honor of labor and art. Please join in saying the Honoring Our Labors by Reverend Florence Caplow. The words are on the screen. In recognition of Labor Day, we light this flame to honor all work, including the work of our hands, and our backs. In gratitude for all the labors that support our world, and for all those who boldly continue the work of justice, equity, and peace. Please rise in body or spirit and join in saying the words of our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Before we sing our opening hymn, I invite those joining us online to greet each other in the chat, and those gathered here in the sanctuary to turn to one another briefly to say good morning, trying to greet someone who is new to you.
Please stay after the service and continue your conversations. If you're new to UCE, please stop by the welcome table. Carolyn Laughlin is back there today. It's the table with the red cloth to get more information about our community. Let's keep creating relationships and building kinship among us. Please remain risen and join in singing our opening hymn, 1059, May Your Life Be as a Song, and it's short, so we're going to sing it through twice.
Stars ever dancing Good morning. We got a treat for you today. For our time of all ages, we are going to encourage ourselves to be creative using some suggestions made by Susan Ariel Rainbow Kennedy in her writing titled How to Be an Artist. Her first suggestion is make little signs that say yes and post them all over your house. Yeah. You will see up here a table at the front of the sanctuary with sticky notes, markers, and pens. You are invited to make several or more yes stickers. I love it. Yes. And put them up around your house, of course. And while you are at this table, you may also think of a word that you would like to insert into the hymn when the Spirit says do. A word that replaces the word do, and put that on a sticky note and give it to Reverend Susan, and we will be singing them later. Some of them, maybe all of them. The second suggestion in her book is write love letters, which is in the back, kind of in front of Adam. And there are blank cards where you are invited to take one and write a love letter or a thinking of you note to someone. And if you need a stamp, bring the card in its addressed envelope back to Reverend Susan next Sunday, and she will actually mail it for you. Not just the card, not all your mail. The third suggestion is to draw on the walls. So you'll see over here, paper taped on the walls by the ramp. There are markers and crayons and bins on the floor, and you're invited to draw on the paper on the wall. And there are 3 prompts for those of you who might not feel as creative, where you can write a response that's on the card. And if you are online, you are invited to find a sticky note or whatever paper, blank cards to write on, and put ideas for the final hymn in the space for where the Spirit says do into the chat. And in addition, there will be the 3 suggestions that are on the wall here on your screen for you to engage in while we in the sanctuary are moving about. Gregory will be playing some lovely music as we engage in our inner artistry. And once we have started, Reverend Susan, Carla, and myself will be reading the poem, How to Be an Artist. And we're going to read it through twice while you are being creative at one of these spots. And then Reverend Susan will invite you back to your seats when it's time. So please rise and move about to wherever you feel creative at the moment. right, here is our poem by Susan Ariel Rainbow Kennedy. You can continue working quietly as we read through the poem. It's from How to Be an Artist. First, stay loose, learn to watch snails.
Plant impossible gardens. Invite someone you wouldn't normally invite to tea.
Make little signs that say yes and post them all over your house. Make friends with freedom and uncertainty.
Look forward to dreams. Cry during movies.
Swing as high as you can on a swing set by moonlight. Cultivate moods.
Refuse to be responsible. Do it for love.
Take lots of naps. Give money away.
Do it now. The money will follow.
Believe in magic. Laugh a lot.
Celebrate every gorgeous moment. Take moon baths.
Have wild imaginings, transformative dreams, and perfect calm. Draw on the walls.
Read every day. Imagine yourself magic.
Giggle with children. Listen to old people.
Open up. Dive in.
Be free. Bless yourself.
Drive away fear. Play with everything.
Entertain your inner child. You are innocent.
Build a fort with blankets. Get wet.
Hug trees. Write love letters. Stay loose. Learn to watch snails.
Plant impossible gardens. Invite someone you wouldn't normally invite to tea.
Make little signs that say yes and post them all over your house. Make friends with freedom and uncertainty.
Look forward to dreams. Cry during movies.
Swing as high as you can on a swing set by moonlight. Cultivate moods.
Refuse to be responsible. Do everything for love.
Take lots of naps. Give money away.
Do it now. The money will follow.
Believe in magic. Laugh a lot.
Celebrate every gorgeous moment. Take moon baths.
Have wild imaginings, transformative dreams, and perfect calm. Draw on the walls.
Read every day. Imagine yourself magic.
Giggle with children. Listen to old people.
Open up and dive in.
Be free and bless yourself.
Drive away fear. Play with everything.
Entertain your inner child. You are innocent.
Build a fort with blankets. Get wet.
Hug trees and write love letters.
You're invited to finish what you're doing and head back to your seat. I invite us to settle back into our seats, into a time of quiet reflection as we share our joys and sorrows. If you have a joy or sorrow you would like spoken aloud, you may write it in our book that sits on the table right inside the sanctuary doors, or you may submit from the Google form on the homepage of our website, or you may email Reverend Eileen or myself. We listen to these offerings with tenderness and respect. Let us all breathe in together, feeling that energy of creativity and interaction with each other, and breathe out grounding ourselves for a moment of quiet. These are the joys and sorrows shared before our service today. From Suyokam, celebrating with you in spirit from rural southern Indiana. My new job in occupational health started last week, and training is going well. I'm working with the religious community I used to be a member of. I miss you all, and we'll share more soon. From Michael Drennan. I found it a joy last week to cooperate with Andy Fisher, Shirley Adams, Rob Geiger, Neil Corman, and our Facilities and Technology Coordinator, Adam Goff, to walk through the entire building, checking light bulbs and checking for leaks, to complete the Sustainability Facilities Checklist from Illinois Green Alliance. Information compiled will be used to fine-tune our next steps towards reducing emissions and utility costs. We celebrate Labor Day and recognize the workers in our town and our country. We also celebrate the labor movement and those who keep our workers safe and justly compensated. A joy from Kristen Durning. I feel so supported and felt surrounded by love when UCE members brought me food and found me a wheelchair to aid my injured ankles. I am grateful and touched. And from Lena Hilko, this past Thursday, the Steppenwolf Theater announced a 12% workforce reduction, providing just one newsworthy indicator of the societal challenge of financing the arts. I am so grateful, as I know many are, for the ways that the arts provide nourishment, inspiration, healing, and transformation. And upon the Steppenwolf's announcement, I feel a particular sorrow for those who share their talents with the world while trying to make a life and a modest living through work in the arts. Sharing these concerns of the heart is a part of our practice of beloved community. Together we expand our celebrations and lessen the burdens of our grief. You're invited now to settle in, taking another deep breath in and exhaling. As you are invited to come forward and light a candle for whatever is on your heart this morning. If you would like a candle brought to you, please raise your hand and Kathy will bring a candle to you. Please come forward. please join in saying our communal words. For these joys we give our thanks. For these sorrows we give our love. Please join me in the spirit of prayer and meditation as I share with you Kenneth P. Langer's A Prayer for These Times. Spirit of life and love, let me find peace within so that I may be calm throughout. Let me find silence within so that I may find compassion throughout. Let me be reminded that some things are worth waiting for. Let me be reminded that the journey is more important than reaching the destination. Let me see that the non-doing is as much a part of life as the doing. Let me be reminded that it is in these moments of holding on that I can find quietude and renewal. It is within these times of inaction that I can find rest, and in these times of emptiness that I can become full. Blessed be. Please join me in singing 3 verses of Comfort Me.
As we say in our covenant each Sunday, service is our law. UCE is called by our mission, values, and principles to contribute to our community, to form accountable partnerships, and to express gratitude through giving. Today's offering will be shared with the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee, and I invite Tom Tickner to share about the work of UUSC.
I guess it's the continuation of the give money to whom part. Good morning, everybody. I had a chance to talk with you last spring, and so I'm on a bit early because we've changed the order of loose plate donations. But anyway, Adam, first slide. Great, fantastic. Remember the Letterman program, Top 10 Reasons? I'm going to do my best, but without the Paul Schaefer band. First, because of what UUSC does. Challenging injustice, advancing human rights. First, it's climate justice. They're very active working with indigenous people in places where global warming is causing their home to disappear. and with working with those people to advance this in terms of the major countries meeting the Paris Accords and taking the issue to the World Court. In terms of migrant justice, they're very active on the border, not just providing water and comfort and counseling to those there, but working on the legal front. And in terms of equitable disaster response, they're the major group working with LGBTQ refugees and asylum seekers from Ukraine. Many of the organizations in Hungary and Poland with their Catholic origins choose conservatively not to work with those constituencies. UUSC does. Now, next slide. And then what after that? Well, the next slide says because they do what they do pretty darn well. They're activists, and they both provide human services, but they advocate and they organize. They're working through a partnership model with 50 partners in 22 countries. 79% of those partners are BIPOC-led. They develop indigenous organization and leadership, and Charity Navigator has given them a 4-star review for 10 years running, which means that they're efficient in their fundraising, they're very transparent in their results, they do an effective job of working with their constituencies to change and model their programs. And I think the next reason, if I could have the next slide, please. Here are some of the folks they work with, of course. The next slide. There's a UU karma to this, and we say we contribute for joy. There's a very proud heritage of UUSC. Passport is not streaming the Ken Burns documentary at the moment, but you might watch for it because UUSC started in 1940 defying the Nazis, helping people emigrate from Germany. One of the very, very few American organizations doing so. It has volunteer involvement resources. Some are very simple, sort of a 101 guide to community organizing. A lot of people in this room, I no doubt, could write that. But for those of us who are still working on the learning curve, it might be a good resource. And for people who want to do a 6-month volunteer opportunity, sort of a Peace Corps for those of you who don't have dogs at home and are retired, you might look at the website. Lastly, I couldn't get Paul Schaefer, but having Gregory is better. Lastly, it's run by UUs with UU values. Think again, challenging injustice, advancing human rights. All over their presentation material is recognizing the inherent worth and dignity of all persons. I encourage you to go to their annual report, which is called Repair, Restore, and Reimagine. I encourage you to give this morning to consider a $40 annual contribution to the organization, uusc.org. That way you'd be plugged into the newsletter and some advocacy opportunities to contact elected officials. There are about 40 present UUSC members among our congregation. I think that's good and that's bad. I mean, 40 would be less than 20% of our pledging units. For those of you who have the opportunity to be generous, Shelter Rock congregation, which has oil wells in their endowment, matches any gift greater than $150. Some churches make UUSC a regular part of their budget. Some set high goals of participation. 5 Illinois congregations are above the 50% of membership level. Whether that's of interest to you or just generously contributing, should that move you today, we really thank you because they do good Unitarian work.
Thanks, Tom. You may text to give, mail in a check, or give from our website. If you write a check, please indicate in the memo line if your check is for the shared offering or some other giving. If the ushers will now come forward to pass the collection bowls down the rows, please give as generously as you are able, and may what you give bring you joy. Thank you for your generosity. Our reading is a responsive reading adapted from We Labor in Love by Amanda Eudice Kessler. We're going to have 3 parts. Myself is the leader, and then the left side, which is this side by the ramp, and then the right side by the piano. And if you're online, you can choose a side. Watch the words on the screen for your cues. So I'm going to read the leader and then left side, right side. Okay, here we go. Got it, everybody? Good? Okay. On Labor Day, we honor work, physical and mental, paid and unpaid, joyous and heartbreaking. We labor in gratitude.
Our work in the image of society and the land fails to sustain our material needs and meeting us.
Our work can heal the world, help us understand who we are, and keep us safe.
We labor in joy. Our work can honor the world, leading us and expose us to danger.
We join together to create work that is safe and humane.
Our work can fill our days with accomplishments, our lives with stories.
Our work can dissatisfy and alienate us. We may not be able to find enough work or any work. We labor in love.
Thank you, Gregory. We are gifted with your artistry. I grew up in a house full of creatives. Creatives, I love that word. I just learned that word this week from Kristen Larson. Creatives are our art makers. Art makers like my stepdad and my brother who have their Master of Fine Arts in painting, like my brother who is currently getting his Master of Arts in creative writing, my sister who sculpts and throws clay, and my other brother who can draw anything. My house was a place that valued homemade cards, projects from art class, and self-composed jokes. And I debated last night about if I was going to tell you one, but I couldn't think of one that I could deliver. But my house was full of humor. Creativity in all its forms, good and getting there, was celebrated and encouraged. Living life with an artistic family, I have also learned how the labor of artists is undervalued in U.S. society. It is difficult for one to make a reliable living supported only by one's artistic talents, such as the sorrow that Lena shared with us today. So many artists have second jobs to support themselves and their families, jobs from being a construction worker to being a university professor. This is true of creatives in all the arts, theater, music, visual arts, the literary world. And I'm talking about the average artist. people in our neighborhoods, in our hometowns, people who are not interested in joining Hollywood, but who want to make the world where they live a more engaging place through their art. We are currently seeing the Hollywood version of how U.S. society undervalues artists in the writers' strike. The Writers Guild of America is proposing changes to their collective bargaining agreement regarding artificial intelligence, pay structures to make up for the elimination of residuals, minimum pay for streaming, and guaranteed number of on-the-week jobs for writers. And I could have written an entire other sermon about how the elimination of the arts from public schools is leading to the commodification of labor before students are even part of the labor force. Commodification. The way in which our capitalist society puts a price tag on everything. And it is difficult to put a price tag on art because art is the culmination of our lived lives, of relationship. Because we actually cannot put a price on that divine spark, which is human consciousness. The new things that come out of that spark are creative aspects in math, in engineering, in science, and in the arts. And our society has figured out how to support creative labor in research that results in a tangible product that can become a commodity. But we have not figured out how to sustainably support creative labor with an aesthetic or relational product. Products that inspire our very being in intangible ways, ways that can affect all different aspects of our lives. I do not consider myself one of the creatives in my family in that I do not make art in the way that they do. But I do consider myself the beneficiary of all that intangible creation surrounding me, such that I know myself to be a creative person. And that creativity enhances my life. At home, in my role as Aunt Susan, in my previous job as a lawyer, and now in my ministry. I believe the arts engage our senses. And when our senses are alive, I believe we can often think about things differently. And that can impact every facet of our life. That can impact everything from parenting to employment to spirituality. And it is that makes the arts so personal and so worthy of our care. So I have 4 ways that we can support the arts. We can support the Writers Union, who is seeking not only fair compensation, but the retention of human engagement. We can encourage the creatives in our lives, whatever age they are. We can ask our federal legislators to renew the parts of the American Rescue Plan that fund the arts, because that funding will sunset in December of 2024. And we can ask our employers to donate or pay for employees to attend art exhibits, bands, theater performances. I know us to be a community that values the labor of artists. So I invite you to stay after the service during our kinship time and to go to one of the 3 stations that you didn't make it to during our time for all ages. And then I invite you to talk to each other. to find out in what way are you supporting some aspect of the arts. It is through our collective engagement that we will change our society into one that deeply and sustainably values the labor of artists. Blessed be.
As Margaret and Neil extinguish the chalice, please join in saying the words on the screen by Reverend Elizabeth Sell Jones. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, our fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Hymn number 1024, When the Spirit Says Do, is an African American spiritual, and Reverend Susan is going to take over.
All right, I got 4 dozen responses for words to put in, and so I picked 4. So we're going to sing it through once. When the Spirit says do, I'm going to call out the next word. We're going to do just 5 verses, and then we'll go into our benediction. Thank you all for your engagement this morning.
Says do. You've got to do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you've got to do, oh Lord. You've got to do when the Spirit says do. 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 Spirit says sing! You've got to sing when the Spirit says sing. You've got to sing when the Spirit says sing. When the Spirit says sing, you've got to sing. Oh Lord, you've got to sing when the Spirit says sing. 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 Spirit says jump. Jump when the Spirit says jump. You've got to jump when the Spirit says jump. When the Spirit says jump, you've got to jump. You've got to jump when the Spirit says jump. 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 Spirit says
Laugh! Ha 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 ha!
when the Spirit says laugh. You've got to laugh when the Spirit says laugh. When the Spirit says laugh, you've got to laugh. You've got to laugh when the Spirit says laugh. 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 Spi Spirit
As you leave this place, may you find ways to support the labor of creatives in your midst. May you find the creativity within you and the space here or elsewhere to express it. May you labor in joy, uncertainty, and love. Blessed be. Go in peace.